one Bible verse can completely change how you see those moments. Listen, here it is. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Isaiah 55:8. Have you ever prayed for something and God just seemed to do the exact opposite of what you prayed for? You asked for these open doors and they just closed right in front of you. You asked for answers and you just got silence, you heard nothing. And you asked for relief and this struggle that you're going through just stayed. And you quietly wondered, like, God, what are you doing? If you understand what this really means, you will stop doubting, you will stop panicking, and you will start trusting God in a deeper way than ever before. So what does this verse really mean? I'm going to break it down for you. So when God says my ways are not your ways, he's not saying I'm random. This is what he's saying. I see what you can't see. And the very next verse explains it. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Isaiah 55:9. So imagine a child watching a parent cook. The child sees this big mess, but the parent sees a meal. And this child sees like cutting and heat and waiting, but the parent sees something delicious coming together for supper. And that's how it is with God. You see this mess, but God sees the final masterpiece. Think about that. And here's some biblical examples of God's strange ways. Check this out. So Joseph in Genesis 37-50. Joseph had dreams from God, but instead of a throne, you know what he got? He got betrayed by his brothers. He got sold as a slave. He got thrown into prison for years, and nothing made sense. But later, this is what he says. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Genesis 50:20. So God's way to the palace went through the prison. Look at Moses in Exodus 2. Moses thought he would save Israel quickly. Instead, God sent him into the desert for 40 years because God was preparing a shepherd to shepherd a nation. And now look at Jesus in Luke 24. The disciples thought Jesus would save the world by doing what? By conquering Rome. But instead, he died on a cross. And they said, we had hoped that he was the one. And they thought God failed. But the cross was God's greatest victory. God's way to save the world looked like defeat. Think about that. So how this will change your walk with Christ. When you truly understand Isaiah 55:8, three things happen. Number one, you stop panicking when life does not make any sense. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. You realize, I don't have to understand to trust. And number two, you stop thinking God has abandoned you. You know, it says in his word, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. So confusion does not mean absence. Number three, you learn to depend on God and not outcomes. We walk by faith and not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. So you stop saying, God, show me the plan, and start saying, God, I trust you with the plan. How does this keep you in the faith? Many people leave the faith for one reason. God didn't do what they expected. But this verse prepares you for that. It tells you ahead of time, you will not always understand what I'm doing. And that's not a problem. That's an invitation to deeper trust, my friends. So the next time life feels confusing for you, remember this. You see the mess, but God sees a masterpiece. You see this delay, but God sees the preparation. You see the pain, but God sees the purpose. My ways are not your ways, declares the Lord. And that's the very reason you can trust him completely. Blessings, my friends.